Kill, kill, kill. Find another black person, walk around, looking around, looking around, looking around, spotting another black person 2 blocks away.
Don't fuck with me!
Gravitate toward that person and find a reason to kill that person. We had an incident right here in Washington just a week or so ago where that old adage, that old, you might say, part of what you call black culture, what are you looking at me for? What are you looking at me for? I'll kill you, black person that looks just like me, because you looked at me. Now, white people look at you all day. White people look at you all day, or, you know, or they don't look at you because they don't even notice you because you're not that important. But here's some black person that you say, he's looking at me. What is he doing looking at me? And that's after going out of your way with a lot of us, let's tell the truth now, to get attention, doing everything you can to get attention, and then when somebody gives you the attention, what are you looking at me for? You don't know me. And then bang, because that's what happened the other day. Bang, bang, bang. I'll kill you. I'll kill you. Person who looks like me. Why? Because you looked at me. That's why. I will kill you because you looked at me. Now, what is the look supposed to do? Well, you looked at me. Well, well, what is looking at you got to do with anything? Well, I don't know. I don't know why I do anything. I'm black. I ain't got no reason for what I do. I just do stuff. Just walk around on the street all day like a zombie, looking for something to do, and usually it's something that makes no sense at all. Now, that's not all black people by any means, particularly throughout the entire world, but in the northwestern hemisphere.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, level up, level up, level up, level up.
That's a part of the culture that's been passed on. I heard stuff like that back in the early 1940s at least. And apparently Marcus Garvey knew all about it back in the 1920s. This is 2016. We need to examine what we call black culture in fine detail and stop skirting around it and find out exactly what is the root cause of all of this. Of course, the root cause, in my opinion, is a system of white supremacy. A fish, the nature of a fish is born in water. So the fish is not aware of water until the fish is out of the water, okay? Because that's the natural habitat of a fish. Now, if you're born in prison, and black people are born in prison, non-white people are born in a prison called, and the name of that prison is the system of white supremacy, you're just not aware that you're in prison. You think this is situation normal. I mean, you know, hey, what's wrong with people? I mean, you know, talking about some kind of racism, what is that? I mean, you know, I go where I want to, do what I want to, what are you talking about? Why? Because if you're born in a situation, if you're born in a prison cell, and you never go out of that prison cell, your whole world is a prison cell. I mean, even a mouse understands that. Or a bird in a cage. A bird born in a caged bird, as Maya Angelou would say. I mean, it's just singing. I mean, you know, hey, I mean, it's happy. Like black people on the plantation. Oh, you know, the happy darky, they called us. All right? Hey, and you say something about slavery. I ain't no slave. What you talking about? Zippity-doo-dah. I'm happy. I got a banjo, got my gal, got my song. What you talking about? See, now that's a firmly indoctrinated person, all right, who is not aware of his situation.
OriginieSounds.
And for the most part,
bang, receipt
here in 2018, the non-white people of this planet are not aware that they were born in a prison called the system of white supremacy, and that they are prisoners of war in that prison, and that no one is seriously telling them this in words that they can understand. I just start with myself. I'm not eligible, not qualified to be a man. Why? Because I was born in captivity, that's why. When you're in captivity, when you're a prisoner of war, you are strictly that and nothing else. A prisoner of war, a victim of white supremacy. And you don't have another title. You can give yourselves all kinds of titles, which is why black people love titles. We give ourselves all kinds of titles. We give each other all kinds of titles. Some titles, it's not as bad as it was in the old days. I say bad, if you want to use that word. But some people used to say professor, reverend, most high. I mean, before you ever get to a name, you would have about 40 titles. You know, when somebody introduces you, if you're supposed to be what you call a big shot Negro in the old days. This is not new. This goes way back. That struggle. Oh, I'd just love to be a man. I mean, what can it take? But by this generation, what you call the new millennia, most young black people have looked around. They have looked at the people that came before them, who since the 1960s, the white supremacists have done a rough job on black malehood. First of all, giving them an option that you can continue to be a big boy, or if you really want to get some material benefits, put on some gold slippers and skip around, and grin all the time and all like that, and have a little money in your pocket. Now you can be a black girl if you're a black male. You can be a black girl, but you cannot be a man. You will never be a man in the system of white supremacy. Now, they have put that in cement. They have written, or rather in steel, or whatever the hardest subject, a diamond. The white supremacists have put that philosophy out here since the 1970s. That's the benchmark that I give it. All over the world, and they're spreading it. They're saying, you're not going to be a man. You're a black male, and you think you're going to be a man on my watch? On my watch? This is the voice of the white supremacists now. Racist man and racist woman. Say, that's not going to happen. Say, now Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and Elijah Muhammad and all that, they said that that's what they're going to make you out of. But it's not going to happen. Now, you can talk it, but you make any move to make that real, and you're going to wonder what fell on you. Now, they have made that clear to all of us.
OriginieSounds. Bang, bang, receipt gang.
I'll play with you for a little while. I'll laugh and joke with you. But if you get serious and think that you're going to be a man, and when I'm here, because there ain't but one man in this house, and when I say house, I mean the entire planet Earth. Anytime you think with your black self, you're going to be a man in my presence, you got another thing coming. Now, like I said, I'll play with you. I'll kid around with you. I'll joke with you. I'll play some ball games with you and all like that. Don't you ever think that you're a man. You're a boy, or you can act like your sisters and be a girl, and you ain't got no other choices with me. But you got all kind of choices with your own people. Even though your own people are really not your own people, they are mine too. But you can kill them. You can tell them, ain't nobody going to disrespect you. Well, you tell that to other black people, boy. Well, don't you ever even think it in my presence. You don't even have to say it. Don't you even act like you might be thinking that, or you're going to find out what hell is. And you know what? The white supremacists have proven that they can deliver on that message every time, and I don't care who you are if you're black on this planet. When you really put them to an acid test, they have so far proven that nobody will take them on, because nobody knows how to, including Neely Fuller. I'm just trying to find out. I'm in their prison too. I was born in their prison too. So to get to the crux of what we're talking about here, for black males, we're talking about manhood. And it's not going to happen, folks. As long as you have the system of white supremacy in place and not having a system of justice.
OriginieSounds. Bang bang receipt gang.
Now this is all by design, folks. The white supremacists know what we are going to do before we do it. Why? Because they have plans for every black person on this planet. And they make plans 10, 15, 50 years ahead. And black people don't have a plan for what they're going to do in the next 2 weeks. And that's the truth. We have to be true, tell ourselves the truth. Because you can't straighten out anything without telling yourself the truth about your own flaws and your own weaknesses, and be able to admit that when somebody is stronger than you or smarter than you, that you've been beaten down and you've been outsmarted. And so far, that is the plight of black people worldwide, not just in South Side and West Side Chicago, but everywhere in the world. Johannesburg, Brazil, you name it. Anywhere you find people of color. And the darker they are, the more oppressed they are. And the more they are prone to turn on each other. Why? That's logical. I mean, you're in the prison yard. There's nobody in the prison yard but other prisoners. You're on the slave ship. There's nobody on the slave ship below deck but other slaves. So what do? You start a fight. All people do that. White people would do that if just a bunch of them on a boxcar heading to the death camp. And then the food runs out. What else are they going to do? See, the white supremacists, they confuse the minds of people all over the world so that everybody's trying to figure out, well, if I'm a light-skinned black person, what color am I? But I am still black. If who says that I'm black? If the white supremacists say that you're black, that's who. Nobody else. Nobody else can make that determination. They decide. They say that these are the brown people. You have an expression now that's been going on for some time. Black people and brown people. Most black people are brown. See how they do the confusion? But it's one thing that's not confused. And you can look at any chart of the races, any census of the so-called races and whatnot. White is the only one that's not confused. Stop and think about it. White is the only one that's not confused. When you say that, one size fits all. That's all you have to be. Not white, semi-Mexican, white Indian, white, Calcuttian, or whatnot. No, just white. Everybody understands what that means. Everybody understands what white means. But when you start talking about part Japanese, part Jewish, or something like that, nobody knows what that means. Well, according to what I've written in the code book, black people are not qualified to celebrate anything. Prisoners are not in a celebratory condition. Black people are prisoners of war. The non-white people of the planet in the system of white supremacy were born in captivity. We're still born in captivity, all of us. Everybody of color on the planet is born in captivity. Captivity to whom? To racist man and racist woman. The white supremacists of this planet. You're born inside of their prison because they dictate what you do in all 9 areas of activity and what you don't do. Economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. They dictate this to all of the non-white people on the planet. And so you have to think, speak, and act according to what they allow you to do. So you're in prison. And so you're not, prisoners are not qualified. They can go ahead and do it, but you're not qualified to celebrate anything. But the white supremacists love for their prisoners. to celebrate. Everything, including being in prison. Celebrate that.
Yeah.
Okay? Have fun. Get out there in the prison yard, and I mean, hey, just turn flips and sing and dance and play banjo. Slaves are always encouraged to do this. Entertain yourselves. Entertain yourselves until you drop.
OriginieSounds. Bang Bang Receipt Gang.
We are killing each other in order to maintain this system. We have let ourselves become possessed by a spirit such that when we become aggressive, we aggress against the self instead of those who are the source of our aggressive orientation. We talk a lot as a people about self-hatred. Self-hatred is a personality configuration. It is a form of personality organization. It is an orientation toward the world and towards oneself. Self-hatred, then, is the white man's greatest protection against being destroyed by the black man. To a good extent, self-hatred is the white man's defense mechanism, is the white man's form of self-defense. How can we say that? To a great extent, one function of the personality is to direct energy, to direct aggression, to channel aggression and energy and wishes and impulses in particular directions, to organize feelings, to organize energy, to achieve certain ends. Those things that we hate, often then when we are angry or hostile, we aggress against them, don't we? We attack them often. We destroy them. Then we have a problem, don't we? If we attack the things we hate, if we attack the things toward which we hold hostility, when we are overly frustrated and when we are angry, then what happens if that thing we hate is ourselves? It means then, ladies and gentlemen, that when we become frustrated and angered as a people, when we are overwrought by feelings of hostility, and our self-hating personality seeks to channel that hostility and channel that aggression, it's going to channel the aggression right back on to the self, because that's the thing we hate most. So consequently, black anger then becomes a conduit for black self-destruction, for black self-defeat. The object of our hostile, aggressive feelings becomes ourselves. And you can see then how the white man is protected by that personality structure, right? While he stokes our anger, while he stokes our hostility, while he stokes our frustration, and while we get mad and we want to strike out, when we decide to strike out and aggress, we strike out and aggress against the self.
It's just one answer to all three questions. In order to maintain the system of white supremacy. These are necessary things. Cause confusion in what? All areas of activity. Because like I said earlier in this program, when people are confused, they have to depend on people who are not confused. So the white supremacists use language to confuse people all the time, every day. You can't buy a car or buy a house without being confused. You can't do anything if you're a person of color anywhere in the world under the system of white supremacy without some kind of confusion being handed to you on a silver platter. See, the platter will be beautiful, the thing that they handed to you in, but they keep that. And whatever was on that platter is loaded with poison. All right? And the poison is designed to do what? Confuse the mind. That's the kind of poison they put out. And they do it mostly by talking. That's why the people who are called in the Northwestern Hemisphere years ago, the people who were designated as called red people, people of color, by the white supremacists, those people said what about the white supremacists? They speak with forked tongue. Say one thing, mean another. If you listen to them, if they keep talking and whatnot, they will talk you out of house and home. They're expert talkers. Like I sometimes call it Pocahontasism. And if they can't talk to one black person, they'll talk to another. They'll try to find the weakest one. Their record shows this. And this is not anything that Neely Fuller is saying, except I'm repeating what was taught to me. By whom? Directly, indirectly, by people who believed in white supremacy. Many of them. I won't say all, but I'll say the most powerful and smartest ones. They taught me about what? The Indian maiden called Pocahontas. And say, you read this, boy, and you learn it. What we did to people of color, along with what we did to you. Read this. And even though you're reading it, and I'll tell you about it, I told you about your slave history because I got control of all the books. So, you couldn't learn it any other way. I killed off the people who were actually, the first ones. And so I inherited you. You are the illegitimate offspring. That's what the white supremacists tell us every day. You are my illegitimate offspring because I killed off your parents. I killed off the parents of all of the non-white people on the planet until they did what? Until their offspring learned my ways. But I will only teach them enough of my ways to their own detriment.
Nigga,
I'll teach them how to fight each other and all of that. I won't teach them anything that makes them more powerful than me or as powerful as I am. Because I don't believe in justice. I believe in dominating and mistreating people. That's why I'm a white supremacist. Domination and mistreatment of people. That's what white supremacy means. It doesn't mean just, I'm trying to, save myself as a white person, as a species and all like that. That's what they'll say. But see, no one was chasing them down, insisting that you give your woman to me. The white supremacists were doing that to other people, chasing other people all over the place and saying, give your women to me. I'll take them. And don't you touch mine, but I will take all of yours and run through every one of them that I can and produce offspring and then make slaves out of them and have them confused because I will always tell them that some of you are my offspring and get you to fight the other ones, the light skin against the dark skin, and come up with all different kind of religions and have you fighting about that when I am the most powerful of all religions. There's no religion more powerful than the religion of white supremacy. Now,
OriginieSounds. Bang Bang Receipt Gang.
My queen, the world assumes white people are naturally good. So when something bad happens, it's a good person doing a bad thing. They assume black people are naturally bad. So when something good happens, it's only a matter of time before that animal's true nature rears its ugly head. And my worshipers know freedom ain't free. They know the most potent weapon of control for the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. They know slavery is not a condition. Slavery is a cult. Human trafficking is a cult. Slavery got a rebrand like motherfucking the alt-right. And snatched. Another one gone. Every Every 30 seconds, another chocolate brown, caramel yellow, high yellow, red bone refugee girl with melanin in her skin gets snatched. Every 30 seconds. And to make matters worse, these dazzling new plantation owners built a pipeline to take our children from school to prison quicker than a cut can bleed. And the lucky ones go from school to the NFL, where they don't even let them niggas take a knee. They've been programmed from birth with shitty food options, contaminated drinking water, gun violence, police brutality, and trauma after trauma after trauma. PTSD, no therapy. Missing, no Amber Alert. Alone. Vulnerable. Snatched. Another one gone.
OriginieSounds. Bang Bang Receipt Gang.
And the young black people have picked up that signal. And they say, well, if I can't be a man and I don't want to be like my sisters, I don't want to switch around all day looking for a male, and I pretend to be a female or try to switch over and be one if they can operate on me and make me one, because then things become easier. I mean, I guess, I hope, you know, but I definitely can't be a man because I'm in big trouble if I try to be. Then what can I be? Well, the white supremacist said, well, I'll give you another outside option. You can go around and pretend that you're a man by doing harm to other black people. That's cursing out black females, calling them names and all like that. Write songs about them where you call them all kinds of names and kick them all up and down the street. We don't care about that. Kick your mother up and down the street. I mean, we rejoice when we see you do that, okay? But if you start acting anything like you ask for respect from us, the white supremacists, boy, you're going to get dead real quick. Most black males, we know that because they teach us that in no uncertain terms. When we really start asserting ourselves and say, you're going to respect me as a man. And the white supremacists said, you tell that to other black people. But don't you get in my face ever, boy, and act like you even thinking like that, dealing with me. Now, I'll play with you for a little while. I'll laugh and joke with you. But if you get serious and think that you're going to be a man and when I'm here, because there ain't but one man in this house, and when I say house, I mean the entire planet Earth.
OriginieSounds. Bang Bang Receipt Gang.
Because see, when I get on these shows, I call it for what it is. I go for the jugular. And understand, these white supremacists, they send these Negro minions after you if you start spitting the truth. Y'all know I bring the truth. I'm not going to get around people in the dominant society and then change up the game. I don't play that soft coon and Mr. Bojangles ass that Roland Martin does. I'm not going to be fight the power around black folks, and then when I get around the people on CNN, what about black on black crime? What about we is our own worst enemy? What about we gotta police our own communities? I'm trying to get a job after this. I love Hillary Clinton. We gotta vote for her. That's how that sounds. Let's be real. Anybody, let me tell y'all something. Anybody who even co-signs Hillary like that, let alone get your ass on national TV and tap dance with Hillary Clinton, how are they going to be progressive for black society? What are they going to really do for black society? Just on a practical level. How can you excuse that?
OriginieSounds. Bang Bang Receipt Gang.
You. Where the fuck did your little black ass come from? Huh? You think you and some old voodoo bitch can scare me out of my house? I don't care how many slaves died here. I didn't kill them. You get no reparations. You hear me? No reparations! You bitch!
OriginieSounds. Bang Bang Receipt Gang.
Somebody said they was looking for the bitch. They don't want to see the bitch. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Goes on, see him clown. Goes on, romantic. Who jumping and screaming all over town. Goes on, romantic. Hooray, that morning, hooray, hooray. Goes on, romantic. Oh, go down, romantic on the way. Goes on, romantic. For the boys, they coming from way uptown. Goes on, romantic. For they rocking in the old sandpiper line. Goes on, romantic. Oh, mighty grand morning when they come through. Goes on, romantic. They come down Louisiana Avenue. Goes on, romantic. Oh, the tambourine ringing your yellow drum. Goes on, romantic. Boom, 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 boom. That's from India. Goes on, romantic. I remember that morning. I remember well. Goes on, romantic. I was 5'1", but I was crazy, yeah. Goes on,
OriginieSounds. Bang Bang Receipt Gang.
Pi Phi fraternity, also known as the Boule, was founded May 15, 1904 in Philadelphia. It is the oldest existing Greek letter postgraduate fraternity, originally founded by and for prominent black professional men. Its founders were Henry McKee Minton, a pharmacist, Algernon B. Jackson, doctor, Edwin Clarence Joseph Turpin Howard, doctor, Richard John Warwick, dentist, Eugene Theodore Henson, doctor, and Robert Jones Abele, doctor. The fraternity began as a secret society and modeled itself after the Council of Chiefs, or Council of Areopagus, the name given to the government institution that met on the hill of Areopagus, which presided over the city of Athens, Greece. In ancient Greece, these were noblemen advising the king. After candidates served as one of the 9 archons, a term meaning chief magistrate or another word for ruler, they became Areopagus for life. These were the aristocrats of society, a Greek word that means rule of the best. By definition, power is placed in the hands of a small, privileged ruling class. In Gnostic religious traditions, archons were 7 supernatural beings associated with the 7 classical planets and considered to be the creators of the physical world. In a book titled Hypostasis of the Archons, their physical appearance is that of a hermaphrodite with the face of beast. Another name for the aristocrats is Boule, which existed in the constitutional city-states of Corinth, Argos, Athens, Chios, and Cyrene in the 6th century BC. The Boule had replaced the aristocratic Gerousia, known as the Council of Elders. These were 9 candidates who had reached 60 years of age and held the position of elder for life. The council comprised of 30 elders and 2 kings. The Boule grew from 400 to 500 and was later called the Council of 500. Their functions were defined by oaths for the members. Their most important tasks were drafting deliberations for approval of city-states and its citizens known as the ecclesia. According to the Boule system of belief and principles, commitment, responsibility, education, excellence, and discipline are the core. Titles of the Sigma Phi officers were also fashioned by Greek history. Grand Sire Archon, the chief executive officer and chairman, Grand Grammatius, manager of corporate records, protocols and rituals, and then Des Curistus, which administers the finances. The fraternity's logo included a griffin, a creature similar to the Sphinx. It was a legendary creature with the body, tail, and back legs of a lion, head and wings of an eagle with talons on its front legs, and it was known as the gatekeeper. The urn are the names of those chosen to lead the state. The theory of origin includes thoughts that these are dinosaurs. Greek and Latin sources had written descriptions of griffins as real creatures of Asia. In the 3rd century, new details were said to have emerged about the griffin. Political researcher and lecturer of African American communities, Steve Coakley, born June 17, 1952, and died April 11, 2012, was known for exposing the truth of Black fraternities and sororities. He began to notice Boule's logo and the one such meetings that were being held in LA in 1941 in Griffin Park. He also noticed that all the top of every profession were members of one of the secret organizations, specifically fraternities and sororities in the Divine Nine. Alphas boast they make up 90% of Black lawyers. A fraternity, Wikipedia claims, is a Western concept developed in the Christian context, notably with the religious orders in the Catholic Church during the Middle Ages. Now, we've already talked about this. They are going to associate things that happen with the Catholic Church in the Christian context, and we've already explained why that is. And so know that this is talking about the Catholic Church. It's telling us that the Catholic Church has within it fraternities that are modeled just like the ones from the Divine Nine, because the Divine Nine actually got their model from them, from the Catholic Church, or the secret societies that that are within the Catholic Church. The concept was extended into the modern era, such as Freemasonry. Exactly. And that's something that we will talk about. The Divine Nine, or the National Pan-Hellenic Council, is what is known as BGLOs, or Black Greek Letter Organizations. It formed as a collaborative effort in 1930 with a stated mission and purpose that reads, anonymity of thought and action as far as possible in the conduct of Greek letter collegiate fraternities and sororities, and consider problems of mutual interest to its member organizations. Founding organizations are Alpha Kappa Alpha, Kappa Alpha Psi, Omega Psi Phi, Delta Sigma Theta, and Zeta Phi Beta. Adding Alpha Phi Alpha and Phi Beta Sigma in 1931, Sigma Gamma Rho in 1937, and Iota Phi Theta in 1996. Oaths are taken by its members, not only an oath of silence not to reveal matters of the organization, but to uphold the values of the organization, pledging heart and soul to it, and give lifelong service. In order to bond the individual to the service, initiates must go through a hazing ritual. Although hazing was made illegal after a series of 3 deaths in the 1980s, it is well known that it still occurs. Initiates go underground, also known as pledging. It can be brought about by whipping, beatings, starvation, or being made to consume disgusting or harmful items, perverse acts, playing with feces or urine, being treated as a servant, humiliation, and even sexual acts. If the pledge endures their time of being online, they've quote-unquote crossed the burning sands.
Was permitted in that area of the world that is called in Scripture the Garden of Eden, or between the Tigris and Euphrates River. And here's Adam. Let us make a man. We got to give him a place. Well, if he gonna rule, he got to rule from the heartland, from the core. So here he comes among us. He had to speak our language in order to come among us. He knows Arabic and he knows Hebrew. He knew the language. He knew the customs. He learned the ways, and he came among us. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said within 6 months, he had turned the Holy Land upside down, telling lies, causing the original man to fight and kill one another. So they began to say, well, good God Almighty, when did we start having all this trouble? It was after that stranger came in here. So then they rounded up all the strangers that they could find and chained them and drove them across the hot Arabian desert into the hills and cave sides of Europe, and this became the basis of all of your fraternal orders, crossing the burning sands. Who crossed the burning sands? How did they cross the burning sands? Who sent them across the burning sand? For what reason did we send them across the burning sand?
Sounds. Bang Bang Receipt Gang.
Should have got 40 acres and a mule when they freed us.
We ain't never been free.
Oh, man. That's some
free
shit.
what? Free to do what?
That's some...
Free to go get a white man's job and go watch some football and watch some basketball and buy a little old jewelry. Free? Free to do what? You don't make no law. You don't manufacture nothing. You don't produce nothing. So where's your freedom at? And if the Negro don't have that white boy, he in trouble. He don't know how to eat. He don't know how to eat. The only way he don't know how to eat, he got to go fill out the application and got to go get that job and got to stay on that job and do what the master said do.
So giving us 40 acres would have been giving us too much power back then.
They ain't gonna give you shit.
That's
why? They ain't gave you nothing in all these years. They give an immigrant or a refugee more than they get slave descent. Now they might give you something because you got a Nigerian. You consider the immigrant. I go up there and ask them something, well, yeah, I'll give you shit. You gotta still take what you want. Fuck you. Excuse me, ma'am, I'm sorry.
No, please.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, but they ain't give you nothing. They ain't giving you nothing when they give you 40 acres and a mule. They come over here and took this land from the Indians. Now how they gonna give me something? This God's land. God put this land here for man. You done gathered it all up. I mean, you got everything. I ain't got nothing. Why you bother me?
If we were to get reparations, what do you think they should give Black Americans?
Huh?
If we were to get reparations, what should we get instead of money? You think we should get money?
No. Hell no.
Free education?
Fuck the education. Excuse me, ma'am.
What should we get?
What should we get?
You want some land and you want some seeds and you want to start over again.
A John Deere tractor?
You want some land and you want some seeds and you want to start all over again. So you're going to need a little money, but you want land. You get a black man some money, Gucci gonna have it all.
Yeah.
Diamond store gonna have it all. Car lot gonna have it all. You know you owe the black race, because how can the black race ever be equal to you? And they ain't never had nothing to try to even be equal to you. They had to have a job.
That's true. So should black people get put on a reservation like the Indians?
They're already on a reservation. 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 That job finna be gone. They're already on a reservation. America now.
Yeah.
America can't take care of itself. That white boy can't hardly take care of himself, so he fighting for him now. He ain't got time to, come on, man, go with me. Black man gotta wake up and try to do the impossible.
Oh, yeah.
Start all over again and try to see if we can help one another instead of crossing one another. Black people in America are messed up in their head, want what white folks want and want to be around white folks. Black people, the black Negro in America, he is confused. He's the most confused person on planet Earth. It's no race of people that's more confused than the black Negro. The Afro-American, he ain't too confused because he had sense enough to try to get him some business. The just black, he wake up every day and try to do this and try to do that. But the nigga and the hip-hop ain't trying to hear none of that shit that Negro talking about. It's a new day and a new time for black culture, and it's gone, it's lost.
OriginieSounds. Bang bang receipt gang. OriginieSounds. Bang bang receipt gang. OriginieSounds. Welcome to the Great American Shit Show.
Ho, ho, ho. And now, Mr. Neely Fuller.
If you do not understand white supremacy, which is racism, what it is and how it works, everything else that you understand will only confuse you. Only confuse you. Only confuse you. I know you. I know your father, your grandfather. I had them in chains. You can get in each other's face. You can run around with your little 9mm killing each other. Don't you get in my face at all. I'll let you talk and act. Sometimes let you talk and act tough to me. But remember, I'm letting you do this. Because I don't have to let you do anything, including breathing. And there's nothing can stop me. And you don't know anybody who's big enough to do it. So quit acting. And that's what I say in the books that I've written. We need to stop being actors. We're always talking about keeping it real as black people in the Northwestern Hemisphere. But we're the most unrealistic people on the planet.
OriginieSounds. Bang bang receipt gang.
Ho, ho, ho.
The first one was issued in 1452. They authorized colonial powers such as Spain and Portugal to seize lands and subjugate people in Africa and the New World as long as people on the lands were not Christians. And we were not. They brought that over here, y'all. I could go into this a lot deeper, but what more do you need to see? I'm not telling you to put your Bible down and nothing like that. I'm not telling you to do any of that. I'm telling you the history of what happened with our people. But the problem is that you turning your nose up because this has to do with your religious belief. And then you get mad at me, cause hate, and know that you are indigenous, but you want to do the little Hebrew twist or the Christianity twist to it. But they ain't got nothing to do with our people. Straight up. You are using our enemy's sword against your own people. And gonna tell me I need to read the Bible? No, the freak I don't. But if you learned the Bible, if you read the verses, it's not gonna do shit. We are in the same position as we were before. We need to get back to what position we were in prior to being indoctrinated by religion. This is them declaring that they did this. They know what they did wrong. So, okay, yes, they have recognized their historic wrongdoings. This is a part of us getting our land back, y'all. This is step one. They apologize for it too. They want to make it right. However, our people are not in a position to make demands at this time. Nah, when people said the 1866 treaty, which one? Do you know how many treaties came out in 1866? Chickasaw, Choctaw, Cherokee, a whole, which one? You can't just straight up say 1866 and not say which one. A whole lot of treaties came out in 1866. And then on top of that, them treaties are null and void. Why? Because somebody is at the top and not you. So they ain't changing none of those treaties that's gonna work in our favor. Don't be silly. This is why I say that our people are still not in position to make demands right now. Because what we are faced with, let me tell you why. We still got people allowing their religious belief to be more prominent than their own genealogy of their individual families. We still have people believing that somebody is going to come back and save us from all this turmoil. Huh? We still have people believing that we were captured from some random parts of West Africa and without a trace of a war, and we did not fight back and allowed anonymously known white Europeans to migrate us in chains for 90 days on a sailboat to the Americas, headed to slave for them inside of a brand new territory to them, because they had no clue about America neither.
OriginieSounds. Bang bang receipt gang.
Ho ho ho!
One of the idiots among the nations instead of the righteous among the nations. It makes it seem as if they know more than everybody else. Similar to those Reshaim, those Israelites, these idiots, Goyim, that they're not idiots because they're Goyim, because there are many smart Goyim, but they happen to be one of the idiots among the nations instead of the righteous among the nations. Now these idiots have been making a bigger stink lately. I had a few people send me messages about them and say, oh, this is concerning anti-Semitism. Kanye West is talking about the Israelites. Now I know these morons from years ago. I remember when I lived in New York, you always had one of these Amaleks in the middle of the street wearing something that he bought from a costume store, and he's yelling and screaming the New Testament, but he's, pretending as if he's reading the 10 Commandments from Mount Sinai, and he's reading it in English because none of them know Hebrew, and yelling at everybody that they're the righteous, they're the original Jews, they're the ones, and the Jews of today are fakers, and so on and so forth. Now, of course, at that time that I saw them initially, I didn't know anything about Judaism. So there's not much to argue here. I just knew they're idiots because just the way they behave. Today, Baruch Hashem, after Baruch Hashem, I've had enough time to learn enough that they're morons. Why are they morons? Because their entire premise of everything in regards to being an Israelite and the original Hebrews and they're black and all this racism, all of that can be crushed in literally just a few sentences. There's no need for a debate. I will never have a debate with one of these people because, again, they're violent people, both verbally and otherwise. I will never have a debate with one of these people because, again, they're violent people, both verbally and otherwise.
I will never have a debate with one of these people because, again, they're violent people, both verbally and otherwise.
One another.
The godly thing to do is to kill you.
The godly thing is to kill me.
The godly thing to do is to kill you.
The godly thing is to kill me.
The godly thing to do is to kill you.
The godly thing is to kill me. That is the right thing. Are you Jewish? Do you want to honor God? That is the godly thing to do. We respect one another.
The godly thing to do is to kill you.
The godly thing is to kill me.
That's right. That's
yes?
what the Torah says.
The Torah says to kill us.
The Torah says that people who worship idols such as yourself, when there is a Sanhedrin,
to kill us.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what the Torah says.
So we know how the Jewish people feel about Christians, yes? That you discriminate against Christians.
Christians are idol worshippers.
Show
OriginieSounds. Bang bang receipt gang.
Ho ho ho!
Showtime.
The core whites or whomever they are. That's why I say it's a mystery. They are, I put it in the textbook. The white supremacists of this planet are the most powerful people on the planet, and they are the most familiar mystery on the planet. What do I mean by familiar mystery? That's a term that I use in the textbook, meaning you're looking at them all the time, but you don't know who they are. That goes to show you how great they are at being magicians. They'll say, in fact, you have white people, and I've sat at meetings where they have said it outright. Oh, I'm not really white, I'm part Indian. I'm part Cherokee. Like Cherokee is a color. Like Creek or Apache is a color. But they will say it with a straight face. And everybody will say, the black people who are present will say, oh, okay, all right, that's different. Rather than say, wait a minute, there's no such thing as part white. Wait a minute. There is no such thing, person, as part white. You're either white or you're not. So who are you, sir? Who are you, ma'am? Don't come to me with that part white. There's no such person as that. It doesn't exist. He or she does not exist. Now, are you trying to confuse me or what? Because there is no such person as what you're talking about. You cannot be part white. It's impossible. And are you saying, he said, well, I didn't say that I was part white. I said that I was part Cherokee Indian, but I'm a white man. More confusion.
Bang Bang Receipt Gang.
Imagine had the tobacco industry been immune to prostitute being sued. Come on.
The fuck did your little black ass come from?
I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
The African American community stood up again for me. You've always had my back, and I'll have yours. Imagine had the tobacco industry been immune to prostitute being sued. Come on.
19 states have seceded.
The United States Army ramps up activity.
The White House issued warnings to the Western forces as well as the Florida Alliance.
The three-term president assures the uprising will be dealt with swiftly.
Let me know if you want to try anything on.
Are you guys aware there's like a pretty huge civil war going on all across America?
We just try to stay out. With what we see on the news, seems like it's for the best.
Citizens of America, the so-called Western forces of Texas and California have suffered a very great defeat at the hands of the United States military.
Mr. President, do you regret the use of airstrikes against American citizens? We're moving to D.C. today.
We need to go down there.
They shoot journalists on sight in the Capitol. Every instinct in me says this is death. Flooded.
Every time I survived the war zone, I thought I was sending a warning home. Don't do this. But here we are.
There's some kind of misunderstanding here. What? Well, you're American, okay?
Okay. What kind of American are you? You don't know?
OriginieSounds. Bang Bang Receipt Gang.
A common misconception among people is that any rule or regulation that governs them falls under one category: law. But there are many other forms of law that people abide by without realizing that they simply do not apply to them. Another misconception is that a nation's constitution gives us our rights. A constitution does nothing more than list the rights that we already have. We are born with inalienable rights, endowed to us by our Creator. They are not given to us, and they cannot be given away. The most a person can do with a right is choose whether to exercise it or not. Maritime admiralty law is what's known as the law of the water. It is superseded by civil law and only applies to those who willingly contract themselves into it. The definition of admiralty law is a body of private international law governing the relationships between private entities which operate vessels on the oceans. Let's look at how and why a form of law that is fashioned to govern corporations, businesses, and vessels has imposed its rule over natural human beings. This is all done through a form of word magic. A simple perversion of language has made it possible to convince people around the world that these alternative laws apply to them. One of the predominant beliefs in modern culture is that licenses, permits, registrations, and other forms of documentation are required to operate motor vehicles, use public roads, build structures and establishments, engage in free enterprise, and much more. Sadly, these beliefs are based on little to no investigation whatsoever, and are false. This belief structure is perpetuated by maritime admiralty law. This form of law was originally created to govern ships docking in foreign nations for the import or export of products and resources. It deals with banking and merchant affairs, not civil affairs. When a product is taken off of a ship and brought into a foreign land, that nation takes custody of the resource and accounts for it with a certificate. That certificate marks the birth date of that product in the custody of the respective nation. Think of why it is supposedly required to have a certificate of live birth in the first place. The Barron's Dictionary of Banking Terms defines a certificate as a paper establishing an ownership claim. So right there, we notice that everyone with a birth certificate is defined as being owned. People are used as collateral with other nations because the U.S. is bankrupt. The United States declared bankruptcy on March 9th of 1933. At this point, the U.S. began taking out loans from a private, non-government affiliated corporation called the Federal Reserve. With no money to pay back the loans, the United States began using the citizens as collateral. All birth and marriage certificates are literally warehouse receipts,